And a good afternoon to you from Wake Med Soccer Park, Cary, North Carolina, on a 90-degree, partly cloudy, humid afternoon here in the Triangle. We're back on YouTube. It's Oak City Soccer, as today they host another WPSL Carolina's conference foe, the Charleston Fleet. Hi again, everybody. Chris Sheeman, glad to be with you. We'll bring in Mr. Burley here in just a couple of minutes. Also, Kevin Gotuso on the camera. So let's meet the starting lineups first for Charleston. Second game of a back-to-back for them. They drew even with the Lady Dynamo of Carolina in Greensboro yesterday, 1-1. So they are 0-2-1. And they're starting in front of the net. Number 1, Maggie Berlin. Also starting today for the Fleet is number 2, Danielle Marcano. Number 4, Isabel Vernado. Number 5, Kayla Hill. Number 8, Aaron O'Hearn. Number 9, Remy Ola-Larry. Number 12, Lakin Flinders. Number 14, Ryan Coman. Number 17, Hannah Farmer. Number 18, Meredith Tunney. And number 19, Lexi Carrier. Starting today for Oak City, they're 2-0 off that big opening weekend. 6 points. Second place in the Carolinas Conference, and they are starting in front of the net is Susie Zagante. Also starting today, number 1, Michelle Casold. Number 5, Madison Hoops. Number 8, Rachel Golden. Number 16, Ella Bonder. Number 13, Avery Garner. Number 17, Anna Fish. Number 18, Claire Griffiths. Number 23, Ellen McAdams. Number 26, Paige Griffiths. And number 6, Remy Schwartz. Oak City in the white, they'll possess first. Charleston in the blues. We're underway. Glad that you could be with us here this afternoon. It's going to be hot, Zach Burley, and it's going to be humid, so expect a lot of subs, I would think, today.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and this is such a big game for both the teams. If you look at the standings of where these two guys are, and considering that the season isn't incredibly long, look at Charleston Fleet, rather. Their position in the table, they're in the lower half, so a win here would put them up with some of the top teams, whereas if you look at Oak City, at 6 points, if they win this game, they'll go level with Asheville City at the top of the league.
He says Charleston Southern. A lot of players on this team from the Charleston area, and a lot of them do play for Charleston Southern. Now, it's a kind of a must-win almost in this situation for Charleston. You know, this is a team that did not, or they lost one conference game all of last year. They're already 2 in the hole. They were only able to draw in Greensboro yesterday, so they really need 3 points.
Absolutely, and they can still make something out of the season even if they lose here. They don't have to finish top of the table to consider this a successful season, but they certainly need to start picking up points now rather than later on.
Well, McAdams trying to get the through ball to Casold. How about the start for Michelle Casold for Oak City? Oak City 2-0, as I mentioned, taking down Discoveries 4-1 2 weekends ago. And then on the 20th, they beat Lake Norman here, our first broadcast, by a score of 2-1. So they are second in the Carolinas Conference. Asheville has had a very good start, like Charleston, the expansion team last year. Asheville really coming on strong here in 2018.
Absolutely, and whenever you're an expansion team, you have all the excitement around the club. The fans are really supporting you, so that gives you some sort of momentum moving into the season. So, as you can see, Charleston maybe fell off a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see Asheville in the future if they can keep up this run, and even next season.
That forward ball on the near side. It's Marcano with a good run, trying to get around Golden. Marcano leaves it. Olieri is there, and she puts it in the back of the net. Remy Ola-Larry, who played at a JUCO Power in the upstate, Spartanburg Methodist. 12 goals, 15 assists for them last year. She gets her first with Charleston here in 2018, and in minute 3, it's 1-0.
Yeah, and an early goal is exactly what you want to do as the away team. Go ahead and get settled into the game by getting a goal. Now the rest of the game they can kind of set up in a way maybe that will constrict the play that Oak City might be wanting to go in with this match. So as far as the game plan goes, they've come out to the perfect start for the away team.
So, Ola-Larry, how about that goal? I was going to mention her as a player to look out for. She didn't give me enough time to do that, Zach. I saw her play at Spartanburg Methodist a couple of times, and I didn't see any information about her transferring or moving on to a 4-year school, but I mean, somebody's got to want her. She is fabulous. So, folks, we got the YouTube chat going, and if you're in the Charleston area, give us a shout. If you're an Oak City fan, love to hear from you guys again. Got some good information from the folks on YouTube last game. So again, the live chat going. It's a little bit easier if you're watching on your phone. It can be difficult, but it's there at the bottom of your screen. So Oak City trying to answer, and that ball, I believe it was McAdams over on the far side hitting it out of play. Gives us a chance to mention the Charleston Fleet keeper, Maggie Berlin, freshman at college at Charleston last year, 4 games, 4.11 goals against average. Holds the all-time clean sheet record at Porter Gaud High School. So she's young, but she's good, Zach.
And that's the case in this league. A lot of the players are going to be in the college level or even before that, so it's really good to see these younger players come in and really put on a show for us here today, as we saw in our last game here at home, and we'll continue to see throughout the season.
On that back line for Oak City, it's Gardner trying to play it forward on that far side of your screen. That's going to be Schwartz with it. And again, good defense from Charleston. Hill with a little tap over on the far side. They're playing on the far side, folks. We don't have the binoculars. I believe pass intended for Marcano, though, over there, and it was deflected off of Oak City.
And you can see already in this game the high quality of play that the Fleet are using here, and it just shows you the sort of quality of players they have at the college level. It makes a huge difference to have that sort of experience at the D1 level, and also with the JUCOs. You can really see it's already showing on the field early on.
Well, I mentioned it during our first broadcast. Carolina's and just some of the best soccer that you're going to see, even at the mid-major level. College of Charleston's got a lot of strong talent on that team. This is O'Hearn leaving it back at center circle. So 5 minutes in the books and some change. 1-0 in favor of a Charleston Fleet in their second season in the WPSL. This is a good test too, Zach, for Oak City today as they apply some pressure there.
Absolutely, and they've had some trouble in the early stages really getting anything started. As you've seen, Charleston Fleet has been on the ball a lot more than they have, but when Oak City has gotten it, they've struggled actually keeping possession and finding their attackers. So look for them to start to build more possession if they can get the ball off Charleston.
And that was not something we saw last week at all. They got anything they wanted against Lake Norman. It probably could have been, the score was 2-1. It probably could have been 4-5.
Absolutely, and that's really the mark of a team, is one that can go 1 week from having all the possession and then go to the next week of not having any and still come out with a result. So we'll have to see this big test for them if they can get the 3 points.
Schwartz dancing against Varnado. Varnado able to block that cross, and a corner kick to come for Oak City. And one of the good news for one of the now former, well, not former, still a member of the Oak City United, Sarah Teagarden, who played well when we saw her last weekend. She was called up to the big leagues playing with the Carolina Courage. So this first corner kick, Golden is going to take it over on the far side of your screen. But that's the second time I believe she was promoted this season, Zach. So Golden gets set. A little flick on the near side. That's going to be cleared out.
Going back to Teagarden, that's the great part about having this working relationship with the Courage, literally playing in their backyard, is that you do have the advantages of getting some of their reserve players, getting them in your roster, and that just adds a whole nother level of quality. Teagarden, and as well as Morgan Reed, who played for Duke, she's going to be called up as well for the Courage. So being able to have those players to call on in certain parts of the season could really be a game changer.
Claire Griffiths with the throw in here. That's going to be headed backwards by Hoops, and Ola Larry will let it go for a throw for Charleston. And what we mean when we say call-ups, by the way, folks, is certain teams have certain reserves, like the Chicago Red Stars have a reserve team in the WPSL. Oak City is the de facto unofficial reserve team for the Courage. And a lot of the times when the national teams call-ups happen, then the Courage and other NWSL teams need to fill those rosters. And that's where the reserves come in. And it's a good situation for players like Teagarden to make a couple of bucks at least on it. Not a lot of money, but
Yep, that's it, because when these players were drafted, they have their contract rights given to the Courage, so they always are available to be called up. But then since the fact that maybe they're not playing as much or wanted to finish up school, they can be loaned out or rather just play with Oak City, which is an advantage of that relationship. But since a lot of key big-name players for the Courage are heading off with the women's national team, it gives them an ability to sign some replacement players, which is good for them and good for the players of Oak City.
Hill with a good ball to Flinders. Flinders looking for Ola Larry, but the defense able to hold. The defense was the strength for Oak City last weekend in both victories and let up that early goal, trying to win more of the possession is Oak City. Now they've had the ball a little bit more on this side now. That first goal kind of smacked them in the face in the 3rd minute.
Yeah, absolutely. They're working their way back into it, and you can't fault the defense too much on that first one. It's an early one. Perhaps their attention wasn't to the fullest. They weren't quite all the way in the game, and that was kind of a wake-up call. So it's not as much about how much you get knocked down. It's how you respond to it. So we'll see as they continue on through the match. They've certainly looked better this last 5 minutes.
This is the second of 4 straight at home for Oak City. As I mentioned, top half of the schedule very home-friendly, and we will be back on the air on Saturday, 6 days from now. Oak City and the Carolina Rapids, who Charleston saw earlier, in fact yesterday. So coverage on June 9th at 2:30 p.m.
And this is a similar situation to what happened last week, as the away team was traveling in having already played a game the day before, so that they have an advantage, at least in physicality. Oak City haven't played a game the day before, so they'll be at full strength, whereas the Fleet may not be necessarily.
Players shaken up briefly for Oak City as they look to get something going off the foul call here via the set piece, and it looks like Claire Griffiths will get the party started. Claire didn't play as a redshirt at Florida State last year, so she said, I'm going to play at South Carolina instead. 2 great powers in Division I. Let's see if she can channel a little Pirlo action here in the 11th minute. Good ball in. That's going to be headed back. And it was off Coleman for Charleston, so corner kick number 2.
It was a beautifully crossed ball. It had a lot of whip on it. Was really going towards that sweet spot area right around the penalty box and the 6-yard box. It's exactly where you want to put the ball, because that's the area where the goalkeeper doesn't really come out to claim, but it's not too far out. So a very well-serviced ball. They're going to hope for the same thing off this corner kick.
It's Golden to take the corner. Again on the far side. The keeper is out. That's going to be headed by McAdams. Still alive. The header by Hoops is off the crossbar. Oh, almost an equalizer.
What a chance there. Not just off the first ball, but then off the second and then the third. There was multiple chances that they really could have found that goal, and it was so close from so many different players. And let's hope that for Oak City's sake, they don't regret that later on in the game.
Chris Sheeman, Zach Burley here with you. He let me call him by the wrong name the entire game last time, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've heard it butchered much worse, so I'll let you go with it.
Come on, Zach. Have some self-respect. Off the deflection, Marcano trying to get something going. Again, the defense able to do its job for Oak City here.
How about Bonner? She's registered as a defender. She normally plays it right back, but we saw her even get up into the attacking half and even have a few shots on goal last game. So to be able to have a player with that sort of versatility is huge when it comes to not only in the defensive half, but also in the attacking half.
You might be able to hear it on our mics. It's a little breezy today. Very humid. Paige Griffiths. Good ball on the near side. It's Hoops. Hoops got the angle. The shot's going to be wide to the right, though, and out of play.
They're working their way closer and closer towards the goal, and it's a positive reaction that they've had. It was a little shaky at the beginning, but I think as they continue to build, you can see lots and lots of more chances going the way of Oak City. That's the dangerous part, though, as an away team, when you do get a goal, is there is a tendency to sit back and let the other team have the possession. But you have to be careful, because if you let in a goal, things are right back where they started, and you have to begin all over again, right from the start almost.
Goal kick from Berlin. Charleston Fleet needing 3 points here after winning the conference handily last year, defeating Oak City twice last season. It was close in June in Charleston, 1-0 to the Fleet. And then the Fleet also won here at Wake Med June 11th. Both meetings were a battle for first place at the time. McAdams with the ball, too far forward looking for Casold. We didn't give Casold, Zach, enough love last week, so I want to make sure that we mention her very first game on Saturday, May 19th, after not playing in college. We mentioned she was a member of Team USA, not in soccer though, in field hockey. Comes in after not playing since high school, scored 2 goals in that 4-1 victory.
Well, think about it like this. Whatever sport you compete in at the Olympic level, you have to be an incredible athlete, just physically, in order to be able to get there. So think about it. She goes and competes for Team USA. One day wakes up and she goes, you know what? I've done that, checked it off the bucket list. Think I'll go play professional soccer now. That's incredible. So you can tell she has the physicality, and not only that, but it looks like she was playing college soccer. It looks like she was playing with the Olympic team in women's soccer. And look, she's even up top, playing in an attacking role, which is not easy. I mean, being a defender, you don't have to be skillful. Being an attacker, you have to have so many different abilities that other players on the pitch might not have. So it's a really awesome story and an incredible athleticism she shows.
Oh, Bonner, nice effort.
She has got an absolute hammer of a right foot, and she can service in as well as shoot. So watch out for her in and around the penalty box, taking long shots. She might catch the keeper off her line and could find that equalizing goal they're looking for.
So 14 minutes are in the books. 1-0 in favor of Charleston. If you're just joining us, Remy Olaleri in the 3rd minute, able to put it in the back of the net off of the deflection. Charleston trying to get the attack going. Oak City has calmed down since then. They've had more of the ball, but Charleston trying to change that. I got to think an advantage for the Fleet, too. And we'll talk about some of the players from out of state later, Zach, but they've got a lot of players who play together at college at Charleston. So that cohesiveness, like we saw with the youth team, Lake Norman last week, is certainly coming into play.
That's huge, especially for the chemistry sense that you don't have a lot of time when you come into the WPSL season to really work together and to build that cohesiveness. So the fact that they can use relationships that they've built at the college level and then just take those to the professional can make a huge difference. And I think that's a lot of why you saw them have success last season. And they were a little shaky this year, but I think that they'll be fine as the season goes on.
People don't realize how good that Asheville team is, too. They lost to them, but gave them a good fight. That Asheville team is going to be very strong. I know a few of those ladies.
And they're not just winning; they're winning convincingly. They're not just getting by 1-0. They're winning 3-0, 3-1 almost every game. And
ball into the box, and Zagante will make a play on it. Go ahead.
And that sets them apart. And they also have a really good organization, not just as a team, the men's team as well. And that carries over to Charleston as well. They're connected with the Charleston Battery, and that provides advantages. They're going to have their own training facilities that are going to be shared with the Battery pretty soon.
Casold off the bad clear attempt, looking for hoops. And again, that back line. Carrier will clear it away. Hill was also back there, and making the big play was Tunney.
Yeah, the Battery are doing their own training facilities on Daniel Island in South Carolina, so that'll provide some first-rate training. Training facilities that can really make a difference as far as player development goes.
I'll tell you what, Gamecock fans, this Paige Griffith's looking pretty strong. Ola Larry is there again. It's going to be wide to the left. We've got to have somebody in Charleston out there watching. If you can let us know on the YouTube chat. Very curious if Remy's going to play it's got to be Division I soccer somewhere. She played at Spartanburg Methodist, a junior college program in the upstate of South Carolina, and man, she is something.
She is really good, and she's playing really out on the wing, not really towards the center where most of the attacking threats would be, but you see her drifting inside towards the center of the box, and on her goal and this one, she's been right down the middle where your striker typically would be, but she's been a huge threat, possibly because no one's picking her up. They're thinking, oh, she's out in the wing. Next thing you know, she's breathing down your neck and on goal. So she's been able to find those pockets of space and those areas that she can take advantage of, and she's been fantastic so far.
Garner with a nice pass to Bonner. Bonner to the far side. Oak City patient here. 17 minutes in the books. Paige Griffiths trying to make something happen. It was cleared out by the defense. Ola Larry comes back. Make sure possession stays with her side. Good heading effort. Trying to get there is Casold. Casold looking to the far side. We'll leave it for McAdams. The defense deflects, and that's going to go behind. We'll have another corner kick.
Fantastic work by Casold to drift deep, pick up the ball, dribble past a couple of players. She just has some really fantastic footwork that you wouldn't expect of a person that, hasn't played soccer since high school. So to be able to slot in and play like that's incredible. And we'll see if they can't get another chance from this corner kick like they did with the last one.
So again, it's golden for the third time. 3 for Oak City, none yet for Charleston. And While she sets it up, folks, again, we're operating under heavy humidity here today, so bear with us if things overheat on us. Header by Casold. What a play. The reach by Berlin. Wonderful. That was the equalizer right there, Zach, but Berlin made an incredible effort.
Yeah, it was wonderfully flicked on. That's exactly where you want to put it, is towards that far post, because you know the goalie's going to have a tendency to stay towards the near post, but Berlin wasn't going to be tricked on that one. She showed some outstanding reach to get to it.
Oh, Larry.
A fantastic first touch from her, yeah.
I believe they let it go. That would have been a foul. Good play by Fish. Now McAdams sends it to the far side for Schwartz. The cross is going to go over the netting and out of play. A couple of subs. Looks like they're warming up over there. Again, it's hot, it's humid. We expect a lot of shuffling in and out. And
yeah, it's something you don't see very often, a quadruple substitution.
Yeah. So we'll tell you who they are, Zach. See what you can do. Don't forget, folks, you can follow Oak City United on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Just at Oak City United, all one word there. And 4 subs on for Charleston.
Yep, Ola Larry coming off. She's going to get a well-deserved break. Some time off the field. She's been working tremendously in this first half. Samantha Meredith has come on for the Charleston Fleet, and the first thing you notice about her is her height. She's going to provide offset pieces, off corner kicks, free kicks.
Danielle Uhl also out there, number 11 on your screen. Number 25 is Samantha Meredith, who Zach mentioned. Number 7 is Brinley Nelson from Utah. Was a freshman last year at Utah Valley, one of 2 players from the great Salt Lake State coming to Charleston. And I asked the folks from Charleston, and apparently just a kind of know somebody who knows somebody situation. Free kick. Hoops trying to make contact with it, avoiding the handball at the same time, and Berlin no trouble there. So at Oak City, Zach, does Oak City follow you on Twitter? I can't get a follow back on Twitter.
They actually do follow me. I don't know what the problem is.
Oh, so they're
yeah, it's just you.
They're following my intern, but they're not following me. This is a conspiracy of the highest order, ladies and gentlemen. This will not stand. That's good, though. That's good. Paige Griffiths giving it a run. Fresh legs of Meredith playing it forward. This is Marcano. Marcano, nifty moves. Marcano was dancing in the first time. This time she'll shoot, and it goes wide left.
That's a good individual effort from her, dribbling down this near side and working it on her own, really into the box. Took the shot, which was a little off target, but it was still a good personal effort from her.
Marcano entering her senior year at Tennessee. 7 goals, 3 assists, and 54 appearances the first 3 years. 3 goals in the national tournament last year. Tennessee losing to Washington State in penalty kicks in the second round.
Golden coming off.
I'll tell you about her replacement as soon as I could see who she is.
And it's interesting because Golden was actually playing out at left back. She's gone off, and the person coming on for her has gone to the attacking position. So Bonner, who we mentioned earlier, started out at right back. Now she's at left back. She can play attacking as well. So to be able to have somebody like that that can fill holes all over the pitch is super important as a coach.
So Casold has come to the near side. That through ball, Zagante is the only one home, so gets it to Claire Griffiths, the center back.
And we were talking about chemistry earlier. How about the Griffiths on this team? That's a different kind of chemistry that you can bring.
Yeah, the 3 sisters playing for Oak City. Casold. Header by McAdams. Casold. It's Garner who has come in, by the way. Ivy Garner, 15 years old. Ball in the box. That'll be cleared out. Ivy Garner was a freshman in high school last year. Just turned 15, I believe, back in April. 18 goals, 14 assists, 50 points in her freshman year. She was all-conference in Hillsboro, North Carolina, which is west of Durham. When I was 14 years old, I was eating paste in my parents' basement. just to give you a little perspective there. Off her foot. A long run. I believe it's Marcano on the far side this time. Zagante slides out, net's open, and it's going to be deflected in for another goal here in minute 24. And again, I believe it was Marcano. Zach, check on that for me, though, while I mark this down.
Will do. It was a wonderful solo effort from her. The sort of speed and acceleration she used to get away from her defender, then to touch around the goalkeeper, just the deftest, a little touch to get around her, slot it back. Lots of pressure when you're one-on-one like that, but she did not show any sort of fear of being in that situation and very easily slotted it home.
It was 2, right?
Yep,
okay,
number 2.
We got it. So Marcano making it 2-0 now in favor of Charleston, who's off to the strong start. We were wondering, Zach, what we were going to see out of Charleston. They were so dominant last year and stumbling a little bit at the outset. And I think they have come alive a little bit as it looks like we get a water break here.
Yep, a hydration break is absolutely needed. It's not nearly as hot as it was last week, or rather the last time we had a home game, it feels like, but it certainly is nice to get over there. And there aren't timeouts in soccer, obviously. There's only one real stoppage, but this gives the coaches almost like a timeout sense to be able to reevaluate. And Oak City, after just giving up that goal, will certainly use that to their advantage to maybe switch it up tactically, maybe make a substitution, change how they look to reverse the momentum of this game and get back into it.
So while they take a water break, we're going to take a water break. You folks at home, get yourself a beverage and take a break as well. We're going to take about a minute or 2 break, and then we'll come back here shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Chris Sheeman, Zach Burley, Kevin Gotuso here with you as we're back to live action after the water break. Oak City stumbling a bit here at the start of this one. 25th minute now. It's 2-0 in favor of Charleston. If you're just joining us in the 3rd minute, Remy Olaleri, the junior college player, with a goal. And in the 24th, it was Danielle Marcano. So let's see what Oak City can get going on the attack here. That heading effort from Oak City's Garner is no trouble on a hop for Berlin.
Yeah, they're going to take a big effort now to get back into this game. They've seen some positive moves from them in the midfield and a couple of really good crosses off set pieces, so they're going to need lots and lots of more of that to get back into this one. But I think they've certainly got it in them, but it's going to have to start sooner rather than later.
Yeah, usually in this situation, you know, you get a goal before the half, you're still feeling pretty good about things.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is that they say that the 2-0 lead is the most dangerous in soccer because 1 goal and the other team's straight back in it, 2 you're tied up, and it could very well be 3-2 before you know it. So still not over for either of these teams. A 3rd would make it a lot more comfortable for Charleston.
Oh, the Farmer ball into the box. It's deflected. Meredith gets there, and it's going to be tapped, deflected, and in to the back of the net.
Almost prophetic there from myself.
Was it Marcano again? Got to wait for the turnaround. So 3-0 now in favor of Charleston. who has come to work today. Still can't see her number. This is torture. She's right there, Zach. See if you can find out who she is while I update the folks at home.
And just like I said before they scored, the third will make them feel a lot more comfortable. So now they're going to be able to really settle in. And
it was Marcano again, I believe. So Marcano with her second goal now here in the 26th minute. Goals in the 24th, goals in the 26th for Danielle Marcano. Mentioned she's streaky, Zach. She had 3 goals in the NCAA tournament last year. 7 total in her career at Tennessee.
Very high quality player that they have on the roster, and we've seen that from her 2 goals today. Also, as Oak City, when you're 2-0 down, there's some pressure on you to really get back into the game.
Good job by Garner to get the turnover here. Can Oak City make something happen? Garner will take the tough angle, and Berlin able to glove.
But at 3-0, you know, the pressure's off you a little bit more, so we'll see if they can use that to their advantage and start to climb the mountain. It's just 1 goal at a time, so if they can just get that on their minds and just work on getting the first one, they can still come back in this game.
Bonner trying to make a play. Meredith, mentioned the height for her. Bonner wins it for Oak City.
And she's a real gritty player, a player that can really get in there and win the tackles. Is something that you need when you're down in the game, is to be able to really get stuck into a challenge, win it back, and we've seen her do that on multiple occasions so far.
This is Fish. Coming off her line is Gardner. Gardner got some space, leaves it on the far side. Again, trying to get there is Garner, no D. Crosses it in. Flipped by Fernandez, and that'll be out of play. That's the other player we didn't mention. Melissa Fernandez has come on, the midfielder, entering her sophomore year at Auburn Montgomery. So goal kick to come for Charleston. 28 minutes, nearly in the books here.
And the focus has primarily been on Oak City and the attackers for Charleston, but Berlin in goal has had a very solid game so far. Not have been called on too much, but when she has, she's done well with a couple of crosses she's come out to gather, as well as some of the shots that she's had to stop.
Oh, folks, we'd love to see you in person here. 2 more home games here in the June portion of the 2018 schedule. There's the website to go to, oakcityunited.com, ticket information, and all that good stuff. Oak City trying to maintain possession is Paige Griffiths. Fernandez leaves it on the far side. That's deflected off of Charleston. So Charleston in their 2nd season and Oak City in their 3rd season. Interesting enough, we were talking about Asheville. Oak City in their 1st season went to the WPSL playoffs. Charleston in their 1st season went. Now, Asheville looking strong. Hoops, top of the box. Trying to head it is Fernandez in a battle with the defense, and it's flicked out by Nelson for Charleston. Oak City desperate for a goal here. Still plenty of time in the half.
They've got to be careful here on the break as well.
Counterattack on now. Meredith on the near side. Meredith sends it in, and that's headed out. Still danger, though. Ole moves it back for Nelson. Nelson was going 1-2, and Ole was not ready for it. Now let's see if Hoops can get the counter going for Oak City. That through ball looking for Casold. It's going to roll instead to Berlin.
Yeah, it was a good idea to thread that ball through there. It was in the right area, but just a little bit too much pace on it. A little too far ahead of Casold. It's been the right ideas for Oak City. They've had a lot of chances that have been in the right areas. They put the ball in the right spot, but they just haven't quite been able to finish it just yet. But they've got the right ideas, and they're showing some positive play.
Claire Griffiths to Gardner with a D. To Garner with no D. Garner trying to run it down in a foot race with Vernado. And it's cleared. Did it go behind? Charleston's going to send 2 more subs on here as we wrap up minute number 30. So, good news, Oak City fans. Marcano's coming out. Also out is Hill, and we'll tell you about the subs when we can. So it will be a throw-in for Oak City, Zach.
That's right, and you saw that Garner was using her pace to really worry the defender and force her to put it out for a throw, which gives them almost a set piece high up in the attacking third.
Anna Ortega, number 20 for Charleston, is in. Griffiths tries again. Berlin comes off. Can't gather. It's fired in, blocked on by one of the defenders. I believe that was Carrier who made the play. And again, they're right there.
They are right there.
It looks worse than it is if you're just joining us, because Oak City is knocking on the door.
And they've had multiple chances like that, and you saw Berlin. She just couldn't quite hold on to it, and that's almost your worst fear as a goalkeeper, is losing the ball in that sort of area when she's got her hands on it. And Oak City almost made them pay, but they had enough bodies in front of the goal line to make sure that that wasn't a problem.
Well, the Griffiths hat trick is complete. Lauren Griffiths in now, number 2 in white. So a throw here for Oak City. In the box, Hoops fires it. Oh, trying to flick it in, but unable to come up with it was Casold.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was supposed to be a shot or a cross, but whatever it was, it turned out well for Casold. And she may not have been expecting it to come to her because it was a really quick and snap sort of cross or a shot, whatever it was, but can't really fault her for not being able to get on to the end of that one. It was a difficult one to deal with, especially at her height. To be able to get off the ground like she is pretty remarkable.
So Berlin with another goal kick. 32nd minute. That's going to be off of Oak City. Throw to come for Farmer. Hannah Farmer will play it. College of Charleston as a freshman this fall. Offensive MVP in 2016 at Savannah Christian Prep. Her team won their regional down in Georgia. Casold with a little flick. Fernandez trying to use her size, but those center backs today for Charleston, Zach, have been on the mark.
Very good defending from the center back there. She just was able to shield the ball off, even though she was being tugged at and pushed at. So she used as much physicality as legal and was able to hold it off. And we've seen that on multiple occasions from both of the center backs.
On the far side, that's going to be Paige Griffiths, I believe, to win it.
One of the strengths that this Oak City team has had this game has been their midfield. Is that when the Charleston Fleet have had the ball in that area, they've been able to win it off them with their midfielders. So that's hugely important. What's really been their downfall so far has been on the break when they've had numbers forward. Charleston has been able to switch the ball quickly to the other end and then cause havoc.
Oops was trying to get there off the pass. It's cleared out off of Charleston, and it'll be a throw.
Looks like Fish and Griffiths coming off.
So 2 more subs in for Oak City. We'll tell you about those. Fernandez, I believe, is going to throw this in here. Just about 11 minutes remaining here in the first half. We didn't have much in the way of added time yesterday, so, or not yesterday, 2 weeks ago. Ball into the box. And that'll be cleared out off Charleston.
And Casold has actually come back now to play at left back. They've really been switching their personnel around. She started out as an attacker, but is now playing as a defender, so a lot more versatility from these players. And Bonner, by the way, has gone into a center back. So she's played just about every position on the defensive line.
So 34 minutes in the books. Charleston 3, Oak City 0. 3rd minute goal for Remy Olalari. Then Danielle Marcano in the 24th, and then again in the 26th after the water break, as Charleston comfortably ahead. Oak City's had, I'd say, more of the ball. It's not dominant possession by any stretch, but they've had more of it. And again, it's just been a couple of opportunities missed so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Possession is one thing, but the biggest part is quality of possession. And so far, as you can tell from the scoreline, Charleston Fleet has had the quality of possession.
come here.
2 more subs coming on.
The subs for Oak City, by the way, Frances Henshaw making her first appearance. The soon-to-be junior at NC State wearing number 14. So that was one of the subs for Oak City. We'll check on the others for Charleston as well. Counterattack trying to get going for the Fleet. Oak City able to recover off that back line. It's Bonner. Turner on for Oak City as well. She wears number 9 in white. Catherine Turner, who will be a sophomore at Belmont Abbey, is going to be knocked out. So about 9 minutes left here in this first half. Now Fernandez for Oak City. Fernandez through ball. Again, nobody there, so Berlin will take it. Chris Sheeman, Zach Burley, glad to be with you. Again, folks, I have to kind of jerk around the broadcast a little bit because of the weather. It's starting to affect the broadcast a little bit. If you're having problems watching, just let us know on YouTube. I've heard some complaints about the audio, which is probably on the side of the laptop that's on fire right now.
Thankfully, as compared to last time we were here, that there's a lot more wind, which is probably better for us than it is for the players, as it affects the way the ball moves in the air, especially as a goalkeeper. One of the worst things you can worry about is having the ball move a lot because of the wind.
So, entering minute 30, we're actually in the 39th minute now. Less than 7 minutes to play here in this first half. Oak City still got some time to work with here, trying to get on the board. Charleston has been strong here this afternoon. Coming off ball into the box on a couple of hops. Zagante able to make the play. She's looking to get the counter going with Turner, who's got some space here on the near side.
Yeah, and a goal before halftime would be huge for Oak City. To be able to go in with just a 2-goal deficit rather than a 3 would really be able to adjust the game plan and give them some relief going into the break.
So Turner's ball goes out of play. Charleston with the throw, Casold. Bonner. Now the header by Fernandez. Ole takes it away for the Fleet. Fleet really need 3 points just to have a shot here in the conference. If they don't get 3 out of this weekend at least, they're going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, it's a difference maker, and it's difficult when you're on the road for both of them. To be able to come away with just 3 points would be huge. 4, because of their draw yesterday, if this result holds, would be really big in their overall scheme of where their season's going to be, because they started out with no points at the beginning of the weekend, and to leave after 2 away games with 4 would be really helpful for their outlook, especially as the season goes on.
Oak City, this is certainly no make or break as we get this free kick from Ole here into the box. It's headed by Casold, I believe. Staying with it was Meredith. That's cleared behind, and Charleston now with its first corner.
And you could almost say the result is really more crucial for Charleston Fleet than it is for Oak City. Both teams want to get the points, obviously, but at this point, if Charleston fall behind any more than they already have, they're really going to be struggling the rest of the season, where Oak City already have picked up 6 from their first 2. So it's not quite as crucial even if they go down this game.
Corner kick from Bridley Nelson, the freshman at Utah Valley. And that kind of knuckled outside the box, staying with it, firing it low and wide to the left was Nelson, I believe. Yeah, it was Nelson on the attempt.
And a good shot from her. There was a couple of attackers right on the defensive line there, but I don't believe they touched it because they thought they might be offside if they turned it in. But another chance, one from distance, which is where you'd rather have them come from rather than real close into the goal line. So willing to give up some possession in that area rather than from right in front of your goalkeeper.
Marcano with the throw. She's come back in for the Fleet. And that's going to be off the foot of Marietti. So Kaylin Marietti, who also played at Spartanburg Methodist last year, 18 goals and 12 assists in 17 games. From Charleston, attended West Ashley High School. Those are some productive numbers. That's, to be honest with you, and this is, I've said nothing but nice things about Spartanburg Methodist, but I know a lot about Region 10 in the NJCAA. I worked at Cape Fear Community College, which is on the other side, on the coast in Wilmington, North Carolina. And they won some games 14-0, 16-0.
Wow. Because
there was one game, honestly, Zach, where they played 11-on-8 because one of the junior college teams only had 8 players.
Wow.
And they beat them 15-0. So take some of those stats with a grain of salt a little bit, because I know that Region 10 very well, and it's a train wreck, but those are still productive numbers either way.
Absolutely. Something you want to keep an eye on as this match continues is the fitness of Charleston. Obviously, they played a game yesterday, and with the heat and everything, you'll wonder if they're able to keep up their fitness levels and this attacking play throughout the entirety of the match. Just like we get towards the 70th, 80th minute, you'll wonder if Oak City can maybe take advantage of some of those tired legs and start their comeback there.
Lauren Griffiths on that right back side will clear it out. So a throw for Charleston on the far side of our screens. Nearing the end of this first half. For Sheeman, Zach Burley, Kevin Gattuso working on his tan in the sun over there on the camera for you. Glad to be with you. Our second of 5 broadcasts. We will have 2 more in June. They're both on Saturday, and they're both the next Saturday. So next Saturday and the Saturday after that. Then July 7th is when Asheville comes to town. Will it be for the conference? A lot of work to be done until then, including here today, Zach.
Well, that's the huge part about having so many home games early in the season, is that you're able to build that momentum in a place that's familiar to you. When you're constantly having to travel and stuff like that and play away games back to back to back, it's difficult to build that momentum from road trip to road trip. But when you're playing all these games at home, it's really crucial to pick up those points early and to make those chances count, which is why this game is so important for them, because they certainly don't want to be dropping points at home when it's going to be more difficult to get those victories and those draws on the road.
So best case scenario, let's say it's 3-0 going into the half. Does Oak City have a chance for 1 point? Do they still have a chance for 3?
Yeah, they're going to be going for it, but that's the decision that they have to make. Of course, a team never gives up. They never decide, well, we're not going to try anymore. But at some point, you have to wonder if things aren't looking good for them towards the 70th, 80th minute, if they do take off some of those key players and rest them for the next game. They've got almost a week going into it, so I doubt they will, but that's something to consider as a coach. I don't think they will. They have a really good fighting spirit, so I imagine they'll stick this one to the end. But a draw is obviously the first thing they're going to be looking for, but the really key part is to focus on getting the first goal rather than trying to, oh, we got to get 4. Just worry about getting 1, and as you get that one, then you can worry about 2, 3, and all the way up to possibly turning this whole result around. So the most important thing is to get that first goal.
Lawrence plays it forward. Again, Marcano is there. You see the Fleet are still attacking into this final minute of play. Again, probably a little stoppage time, maybe, maybe not. We don't really know. We didn't get any last time we were at Wake Med, but that's certainly on the table.
And that's the same thing if you reverse it to Charleston. They're up 3-0. At what point do they kind of lay off? Do they stop playing so attacking? Because they haven't showed any of that this first half, and they're capable of doing it for all 90 minutes. It's just a matter of whether or not the coach says, you know what, I think 3-0 is okay. I think we can take off some key players. We can rest some people. You know, at what point do they kind of take their foot off the gas? And is that their demise if they decide to do it? So there's a lot of things in this coming half that are going to be very important. Don't think that, oh, the game's 3-0, it's over, I don't have to watch it. This second half can be totally changed by just a few tactical switches from either coach.
So 45 minutes in the books, extra time right now, time on the field. I haven't seen anybody look, well, yeah, I just did see the official check her watch. So we'll see how long they let this go. Did have just a brief injury, not a lot, though. Maybe enough time for this Oak City team to have one more attack. Carpenter trying to run it down. That's going to go behind, and I bet that will do it. It does. So we've reached a half. All Charleston after 45 minutes. They lead at 3-0 thanks to Rennie Olaleri in the 3rd minute with a goal, and then Danielle Marcano goals in the 24th and 26th minute. So, folks, we're going to go away for the half. We'll come back in the second half in about 15 minutes. Don't go too far. Welcome back. Second half is underway. Chris Sheeman, Zach Burley, and Kevin Gotuso glad to be with you here this afternoon. 3-0 in favor of Charleston. Just joining us, Remy O'Leary in the 3rd minute, Danielle Marcano in the 24th and 26th minute for Charleston to make it 3-0 in favor of the Fleet. So let's see how Oak City comes out here to start this second half. And right now, Claire Griffiths tries to send it into the box. Sliding is Schwartz, but can't get there in time. And if you're just joining us, Zach, that's kind of been the tail of the tape for Oak City. Some chances, just near misses.
Yep, and that ball actually managed to stay in on the far side. Surprisingly enough, the player on the far side kept it in and almost had a second chance. But this is exactly what Oak City wanted, was to come out in the second half and immediately put pressure on. I mean, just look at the amount of players that are being pretty much in the attacking half. They just have a few of their defenders, so they're going to look to press high, win the ball back in good areas, and hopefully not concede on the counterattack.
Hill with a great ball. Speaking of which, Marietti trying to chase it down. That's Lauren Griffiths battling with her, and the foul is called. So Oak City will get the free kick.
Yeah, that high press is dangerous because it's advantageous for their formation, because if they press up high, they can win the ball in a good place and then go and build possession from there. But if they're pressing too high and Charleston find a good ball in behind, they could very well find themselves having a 1-on-1 or 2v1 situation at the back. So you have to be careful, you have to balance pushing too high up. And another thing to think about is that O'Leary, who scored the first goal, didn't even play the latter half of that first half.
Marietti sends it to the middle. That ball going to be deflected. Zagante will make a play on it. This Charleston Fleet team coming in 0-2-1. Oak City is 2-0. Last year, Charleston 10-2 in their first season. Their lone conference loss was to the Rapids, who they lost to 2-1 earlier this year. They're coming off yesterday, this road trip to North Carolina. They drew even against the Lady Dynamo 1-1 yesterday.
Yeah, they've had some difficulties in their matches so far, but I think they'll turn that around in the second half of the season.
Going to get another foul call here. This time it's going to go against Oak City.
Yeah, that was just some arm-to-arm sort of stuff, shoulder-to-shoulder challenge, and it goes the way of Charleston. And this is a good position for them attacking, is they can either cross if they wanted to towards the far post, or they could even take this on goal. It's just a matter of whether or not they think they have a set-piece taker who can get it up and over the wall. That's the difficult part when it's this close, is not just having the power, but having the dip to get the ball over the wall and then under the crossbar. So we'll see if they're able to take advantage of this really good set-piece.
So it's Hill who will take it for Charleston. Over the wall and over the crossbar. Good effort by Hill, just a little too much on it, and a goal kick to come.
It had the power, it had some really good curl, but just not quite enough dip, and that's a really hard skill to have for any player at any level, is to be able to move the ball in such a way that it can dip under that crossbar. So good effort, and just showing that at any moment this Charleston's Fleet team can be on the other end of the field and really have another chance at making their lead even larger.
Well, we've teased the schedule a little bit, and there's the upcoming schedule, most of the season actually in that schedule. The rest of June, that's how it takes place, or takes shape for Oak City. So 2 more home games against the Rapids Saturday at 2:30, then on the 16th against the Dynamo, that's also at 2:30. Our last broadcast, by the way, will be on July 7th. That's another Saturday game, again at 2:30. So 49 minutes in the books, and a throw here for the Fleet. Header that time by Claire Griffiths. Page sends it into the box, and that's going to be cleared behind by the center back Tunney. So the 4th corner kick now for Oak City of the game, first here in the second half.
Yeah, it was a really good ball, and Casol was just sitting on the shoulder of that defender waiting for her to either clear it or make the mistake, and that was a good poacher's instinct from her, and it forced this corner. And we saw in the first half that a lot of the chances for Oak City did come from this position, so let's see if they can make something from this.
Claire Griffiths will take the corner kick. She scored on a corner in the first game against Discoveries. Also had an assist in that game. Fires it in. Battle for it, headed by Casold. It's flicked. Oh, punched over by Berlin. What a play. This Berlin
chance.
Is something good.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of reactions that you have to get up in that area, because it was right under the crossbar, to be able to push that over after Bonner was just knocking on the door. She could very well be the deciding factor in this game.
Clara Griffiths will do it again. Sends it in. The header, diving forward, and another nice save by Berlin. Maggie Berlin was a freshman at Charleston last year. Didn't play much. 4 appearances, 4.11 goals against average. But she does hold the all-time clean sheet record at Porter Gaud High School. Showing you a little bit why here today.
Yeah, and if you go back to the first half, if you remember, it was 1-0, and Oak City had that chance where they headed on towards goal, and she was the one that kept that from going in. So if she wouldn't have been there for that to make that play, this game could look totally different. So despite the fact that this has been mostly an attacking-oriented game, don't underestimate the effect the goalkeeper has had.
This time Charleston is hit with a foul. So Oak City, correction, it was Oak City hit with the foul, so Charleston takes the free kick here.
And if you notice that the style of play and the pace of play is slowed down a little bit, they're going to let the goalkeeper come up and take these free kicks that are in their own half, slow the pace of the play down, look to take some of the heat out, some of the pace out of it, so that Oak City doesn't have these chances on the break, which is, I mean, when you're 3-0 up, it's something that you can do comfortably. So,
well, Gardner had a nice run there. Coleman, the midfielder for Charleston, held her off nicely. Well, Gardner's probably got 5 or 6 inches on her line of size, but you don't need size to be tough and physical. People think you do, but some of the best left backs and right backs I know, especially in the women's game, were 5'3", 5'4".
Absolutely.
Speaking of Asheville, one of the better players on their team, she actually played for Chicago in the NWSL. Lydia Vandenberg is one of those players. She's, you know, 5'2", 100 pounds, and she popped one time. I was told this story by a mutual acquaintance that she just popped. I'm drawing blank on the name right now. Who's the most famous women's soccer player there is, who I can't think of the name of right now?
Alex Morgan?
Yes, Alex Morgan. She just popped her, laid her out on the field.
That's the thing, is it's more about your will to work as it is the size that you have. So if you have that will and you're small, it doesn't matter. You can definitely use your physicality. That's the thing that soccer provides, is that it's not necessarily a height-oriented game.
No. If you got, you know, if you hit the weights, if you understand positioning and what that takes, that's really all you need. It's kind of like basketball. People think you need to be tall to get a rebound. You don't.
Absolutely.
Nice play. Clara Griffiths sends it forward, but Berlin is there again.
That's the skill of a goalkeeper that you have to have, is to know when or when not to come off your line. Because if you stay on your line too much, then that ball from that cross would have landed possibly anyone's foot. You don't know who it could have been for. But then if you come off too often, you leave yourself at a place where, you know, somebody could come up when you go to punch the ball and you're off your line. So we've seen Berlin show a good balance of both, knowing when to come off and when to stay on her line, and just shows the mark of a quality goalkeeper that the Fleet have. Yeah,
College of Charleston very deep at the keeper spot. We'll see what kind of opportunities that Maggie gets in her sophomore year down there in Charleston.
And that's the difference between this game is, you know, we've been talking a lot about Berlin, but Zagante on the other side, she hasn't had much to do, only because the chances that have come her way have been goals. But, you know, whereas the Fleet have been very clinical, Oak City United have had lots of chances. They just haven't finished because Berlin has been so good. But Zagante is just as good of a goalkeeper on the other side, despite the fact that the scoreline might not reflect that.
Flinders for Charleston at center circle, getting it back on the near side of your screen. Schwartz giving her trouble. Good ball, but the offside flag is up. Running it down was Marietti, but she was off.
Yeah, she had just trailed onto the wrong side of the shoulder of Bonner there before that ball was played, and offside's the correct call, I believe, on that one.
How about you've called games at Campbell University is where you are. That's mid-major. Charleston, kind of a mid-major too.
Yep, Campbell actually did play Charleston this past season in Charleston. and did come away with a 2-1 win, I believe, early on in the season.
So they got a good team.
Yeah, absolutely. Charleston has a very good team. Got to watch that game. So one of the players that I've seen play at Campbell is Anna Fish. She's not on the field right now. She plays at ECU. So both of these teams have a lot of quality Division I players that have made the difference on both sides. Even though the fact that Fish isn't on, but we've seen lots of Charleston-related players be in and around the pitch and have an influence on the play.
We talked about it earlier, the strong soccer at all levels, really, especially in Division I in the Carolinas. And you know South Carolina, you know Clemson through the years, not as much now. NC State, Duke, North Carolina's got the pedigree as well. As we say, Coleman here on the far side, take a run, leave it for Flinders, and that's going to be cleared out of play. I believe that's going to roll out, and it'll be a Charleston throw. But at the mid-major level, remember a few years ago, Furman made a good run in the NCAA women's tournament. They had Stephanie DeVita, I believe is who they had. She was a tremendous player. I saw her play in the W League. And
there's a lot of quality players and a lot of quality schools. The Big South Conference obviously is the one that I'm familiar with. A lot of quality, like a High Point. And,
High Point's good.
Winthrop are very good schools, as well as Campbell in that area. So as far as the Carolinas go, both North and South, there is a lot of quality, especially at the women's level soccer, which is great for not only college but also these women's teams.
Long run on the far side by Schwartz there, sending it forward to the near side. It was through Claire Griffiths, but Garner is there. Garner trying to get something going. The defense is clamped down, as Zach mentioned, here in this second half for Charleston, but Oak City will have a throw here. I don't know that that's still Zagante at the keeper spot either, Zach. We have no real way of knowing because we're on the opposite side of everything. But
yeah, and she may have come off. I believe she did play in the first half, and she may have come off and kind of switched off for the second half, let the backup goalkeeper get some minutes in. And they have two quality goalkeepers, as it turns out.
Julia Edelstein is the other keeper for Oak City. Again, hard to tell. So Oak City winning another corner kick here. Good job by Garner.
And as far as set pieces go, Oak City has had the majority of those. They haven't been able to find the back of the net, but almost all of them have been dangerous.
Claire Griffiths will take this corner kick again. This is the third in the second half, sixth total for Oak City. Claire sends it in. Bonner tried to get there. It's headed out, though. Charleston with one player back, trying to get the counterattack. This is Schwartz now. Schwartz sends it in, and on a hop coming up, good aggressive play by Berlin.
Yep, and you see Bonner there in the box. She's the person that they're looking for on all these set pieces, the one that they targeted on that corner, and you saw her staying up there. Even after the play had already moved back to the midfield area, she decided to stay up because she is such a physical presence. So if they can find her one of these times off a corner kick or a set piece they cross in, they could certainly find a goal that would get them back into this game.
I've done some name dropping with DeVita and Vandenberg, and who's the best women's player that you've seen in person, calling a game or just as a fan?
Well, may not have been the best player I've ever seen, but one that sticks out and is very good is Alexa Genas. She plays as a striker for Campbell. Her older brother, Jermaine Genas, actually played for the England national team, played for Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League.
Oh, wow.
She's torn it up. She was ranked third in the country this year across the entire NCAA for goals scored. Tore it up in her sophomore year, which is a year that a lot of players typically tend to drift off. So she is wonderful and a player that could be in the future playing in the WPSL or even the NWSL should things continue to go well for her.
I got to see play in person before she became an NWSL player, Rose Lavelle.
Oh, wow. She's fantastic.
I think Rose Lavelle, Abby Wambach will always be the greatest in my mind, but I think Rose Lavelle will be the second greatest women's soccer player in the United States. No pressure, by the way, Rose, but I mean, she came in and just tore up this W League team that I was covering at the time. And I said, who is this girl? She's from Cincinnati and just tearing it up. I believe she plays for the Prodigy now. Opportunity by Hoops. Yes! Into the back of the net, off the deflection. Charleston tried to clear, but Hoops makes it a game again here in the 60th minute as Madison makes it 3-1.
And that's the thing, she was just hanging in there as an attacker. The ball first bounce didn't land for her, but she just stuck in there, hung with the attacking play, found the second ball, and then was able to finish. And this is what we're talking about. It's about getting that first goal. Now they've got it, they can focus on getting the second. Not worry about the score line or how far much you're down. Just a few more minutes, they find another goal, they'll be just one away from tying it up. So this is the momentum that they wanted to build coming out of the second half.
A lot of work still to do, but Oak City feeling, if nothing else, that monkey is off the back. They've put one in the back of the net. They've shown they can beat this back line of Charleston. And, I mean, again, a lot of time still in this one. Charleston still very much comfortably in head, but it would be a disaster for the Fleet if they let these 3 points go away.
And I always like to put myself in the coach's shoes. If you go over to them, it looks like the Fleet have kind of taken their foot off the gas in the early parts of this first half, but now do they go back to their attacking play? Do they decide to go and put the pressure on and decide to go back to how they were playing in the first half, or do they lock it down even more at this point and say, look, everybody behind the ball, really shut them down?
Anna Fish has come back in, number 17. That was a run by Garner looking for Casold, but the ball was a little bit to her left. So 61st minute about to be in the books here, and Oak City showing signs. They've been showing signs all game, just a couple opportunities missed.
And how they decide to play the rest of the second half for the Fleet may be determined on how fit they are. They may not have it in them as far as their legs go after the game yesterday to be able to continue their attacking play, but as far as it looks so far, I don't think that should be a problem.
So it'll be interesting to see what Charleston does here, as Zach mentioned. 61 minutes in the book. Charleston still comfortably ahead, but their eyes a little bit wider than they were 5 minutes ago. Vernado with the throw in for the Fleet. Flinders can't keep it on the line, so Oak City, good defense there by that back line. We don't talk a lot of stats in the beautiful game. I'd like to see some kind of a defensive play stat for those backline players, because they don't get any love on broadcasts like these sometimes.
Yeah, that's the one thing I really like about hockey is the plus-minus stat.
Yes,
you know? I think that would be something that could be really useful, especially for defenders, because it does not go the way of them. As playing as a defender in high school, I certainly know the glory does not go to you.
Shorts with the ball, sending it in. Claire Griffiths. It's over everybody's head because Sold tried to get there, but it goes for a goal kick.
And you can kind of see, that's what we were talking about, is knowing when to come off your line. You could see Berlin was kind of stuck in two minds there of whether or not to come off. She kind of stuttered, and it was that sort of miscommunication, or rather indecision, that almost had that chance for Casold there. And luckily for the Fleet, it didn't come off for them. But Casold is getting in the right spot. She's just going to need to keep doing that if they want to continue adding up the goals.
The sunshine has just been beating down. You can probably see the clouds in the sky. They have not helped at all, probably since about 10 minutes before this game started. So it's just been miserable out there for the players, no doubt. Temperatures, I'm sure, are well into the century mark on the field as Casold tries to make something out of nothing and upset with herself there.
Well, that's the good thing. The two Utah players for the Fleet might have some trouble, but thankfully all these players are very much used to the heat, the humidity, so that won't be a disadvantage for either of these teams.
I got to give a shout out to Utah. I got to come back to Utah. I went to Utah one time. I lived in Wyoming after college, and I went to Utah, and I didn't know what I was doing when I was 25 years old, but I got to get there's some beautiful parts of that state. I mentioned Charleston bringing a couple of players in through connections from the College of Charleston, believe it or not, coaches that know one another.
And Utah also is a very strong state for soccer. They have Real Salt Lake as well as their new WSL team that they got just this year, the Utah Royals, which features Becky Sauerbrunn. That's talking about a good defenders as well as many other women's national teams. So the players that are from there are in a good place, certainly.
So Oak City can afford to be patient here with the attack. Getting that goal. Good ball again. Claire Griffiths, Casold trying to make it into the box. She does to Garner. Garner! That's going to be short. I think it would have been short either way, but Berlin wanted to make sure, so another corner kick to come. And Oak City starting to get that momentum. There's a little hop in their step now as we see Claire Griffiths jog out there, Zach.
And Berlin couldn't quite hold on after the pace of that shot. It ended up going behind for a corner. But that's what you want to do. You want to put that doubt in their minds if you're Oak City. You want to kind of put it in Charleston's head that maybe this isn't finished. Maybe this game isn't over. And that's how they're going to start clawing their way back into this game. They've got one. Maybe they can make it two here.
So the social work major, who will play for the Gamecocks in 2018, takes the corner. Oh. Keeper is off her line, but able to make the play on it was Berlin. I thought for a second there that Bonner was going to get her head on it. It was just a little bit over, though.
It was just a bit over her head, as well as Berlin in goal. That's one of the things. If you're going to come off your line, you have to make sure to get something on it. If it's just a fist or something to get the ball away. But when you come out and don't make contact, you're really running the odds there of conceding a goal.
Let's see if we get a water break at some point, too. We had one in the first half. Hoops tried to go back heel. That'll be cleared out, I believe, by Meredith Tunney.
It's been a lot of very, good forward play, but also some very good passing action in and around the box. You saw in the first half a lot of it was crosses, and now they've decided to go more towards short passing, and it's looked really good. Some very good-looking soccer. It's also paid off for them. They've had a lot of quality chances.
Well, and the clouds are starting to provide some mercy to the players out there, too. There's a chance of some storms, but it doesn't look like that's going to affect game time. In fact, that might come well later into the night here in the triangle. Through ball to Varnado. Offside flag is down. Sliding up, making the play was Zagante.
Yeah, Varnado, I'm not even sure if she knew the ball was going to end up coming through to her. It went all the way through all the different lines, midfield and defense, rather. And when you're in that one-on-one situation, it's actually a lot more difficult than it looks to get the ball around the keeper, considering that they can slide in like that. Very good job from her on her line to come off and collect.
Garner and Lauren Griffiths made a terrific defensive play there to force that pass out of play. Looks like we're going to have some subs come in for Charleston here. They're going to bring in 4 players. So
back to their marquee quadruple sub.
Schwartz will make the throw for Oak City. Oak City and Charleston. Oak City looking for their first win against Charleston. Right now the Fleet in control. Claire Griffiths, Schwartz. That tripped up, and they were going to try to let her keep that run going, play the advantage. Quick free kick taken there.
That's the thing, is Oak City doesn't need to force it. They can just afford. There is plenty of time still left. They can afford to go slowly.
Look at that pass. She's 15 years old, made that pass, and Claire Griffiths tried to get it back to her. Garner, I mean. Unbelievable pass by the freshman. I mean, if you're her college or if you're her high school coach, you're just kind of sitting back in your office during the off season. Well, Garner's coming back. Tried to win the ball there. They're going to call her for a foul.
Well, the one thing you can't do as Oak City is you can't be too worried about the scoreline and just try to send long balls into the box. And I think that's something they've done very well as we go to the hydration break here. They've slowed the ball down, they've taken their time, they've been patient, and they've done better for it.
So we will have a stoppage here for a water break. So we will step aside once again. 3-1 in favor of Charleston. We're in the 69th minute, and we will be back. Chris Sheeman, Zach Burley here with you. 3-1 in favor of Charleston. Maggie Berlin will take the goal kick for the Fleet. Oak City trying to make something happen here. So the clock kept going in the second half, so we will likely have some added time at the end of regulation. Again, we didn't have that in our first broadcast, but expect a minute or two of added time at least. You know what, I'm surprised we haven't seen any cramping or anything like that. These coaches doing a great job of shuffling players in and out, keeping everybody hydrated.
Absolutely. That's the advantage of not having limited substitutions, is you can switch around, give a player a really solid 20 minutes, and then bring them off. I'm sure they're very fit as far as having preseason training and stuff like that, but it's great for the Fleet, who have had to play a game yesterday as well, not having any of those sort of situations come up. But there's still plenty of time left. And as it happens, teams that are in the lead towards the end of the games do often have more cramps than players and teams that are not leading. So you may see some of that towards the end of the game.
Schwartz over on the far side. It's going to be played to Fish. Far side of center circle. Now Lauren Griffiths. Good run over on that far side. I believe it might be Lawrence who sends it in, but that will go over everybody. We did have 4 subs come in for Charleston. How much does money, do you think? Charleston has a lot of local talent. Everybody knows that there's a lot of money down in that Charleston area, especially Mount Pleasant area. Does that play a factor into some of the talents when you have the probably facilities?
Yeah, some of it for sure is the fact that if you do have the money, but you can invest more in the team rather than in the players, that's going to attract talent. If you can invest that in a quality coach and a quality staff and quality facilities, that's going to bring the type of caliber player that you're going to want at a top-class club. So it doesn't play as much in bringing players in, but more in the fact that, success breeds success. So if they bring in people that are successful at whatever level they were at before as far as coaches and staff, I think that could really pay off for them. And being connected with the Battery really helps as well.
Go down there to Charleston and get yourself a studio apartment, 15 grand a month. Might be exaggerating a little bit, but not much. The Fleets, Ortega has come on. She wears number 20. Powell has also come in, number 23. Grace Powell. Trying to give it a run was Powell.
And Oak City wanted that ball just to go on the other side of the corner flag, so they could have taken a corner rather than a throw. But something you haven't seen utilized from this team, just because perhaps they don't have the player to do it, but a lot of the times teams will use this as an opportunity on a long throw, almost like a corner kick. But a lot of these have been taken short rather than the long option. But the crosses worked really well for them, so there's no real point in sending it in long anyway. So watch for Griffiths or somebody else to whip this one in.
Fernandez has come on for Oak City. She got the throw in. Here's Hoops. Hoops scored the lone goal so far for Oak City. Crossed by Claire Griffiths over the head of Scott, who's also come on. So Scott, Kara Scott in the game, who will be a senior at Mount Olive, Academic All-Conference in Conference Carolinas. Entering the 75th minute, 3-1 Charleston. And Charleston, after letting that goal by Hoops up in the 60th, has started to drop back and clamp down a little bit more defensively, Zach.
Yeah, and if you look, you can see all the players are behind the ball -1. They're keeping 10 behind the ball, which just constricts the passing lanes, makes it very difficult to play through the midfield. If you really want to find a way to counteract that, is to take the ball into wide areas, try to draw defenders out, and then cross.
Nice play by Bonner. Bonner's moved to a center back position.
She's played every single position on that back line at some point in this game. So she's very versatile and very lethal in the attacking half.
Some good passing from Oak City that I've noticed in the first couple of games. Very crisp.
When you're playing a team that's up and is playing defensive, it's very hard to play through the midfield. So if you have players that can pass their 2 lines, whether it be through that midfield line that defensive back four, which is what they've done multiple times, Oak City have. That's a game changer to have those sort of players that have the vision and have the ability to do that, because it cuts out 8 players that were in between you and the goal. And when you could find a pass all the way through those lines, it gives you a huge advantage.
Claire Griffiths is off. Coming on, Francis Henshaw, the junior at NC State, all-region and conference at Grimsley High School. Family from South Africa.
And of course, she'll be a teammate of Bonner at NC State.
Charleston also made a sub over on that far side. I believe Uhl has come back in, but I really can't see the number. It might be O'Hearn, too. Ponytails and dark on dark makes it a tough day. So here's Fernandez sending it in on a hop. Berlin's had trouble. That's the second time we've seen that. And I got to think, if I'm an Oak City player, I'm aware of that now. Maybe not the first time, but that second time, just start firing if you get inside the 80th. They're still down by 2, Zach.
Exactly. If you see that the goalkeeper's having trouble collecting, and on both the times she's done that, you can't put too much blame on her, because that ball was dipping quite a bit, so maybe that threw her off. But if you see that she's having trouble, you definitely want to start taking shots from distance.
Turnover here. Here's Fernandez. Fernandez tries to get to the middle. Nice footwork. Fernandez sends it, and it's over the crossbar, out of play. Nice effort, though, from Fernandez.
They're edging closer and closer, Oak City, to that second goal, which wouldn't put them level, of course, but would put them closer. So they're going to have to really grind out this victory, or draw, really, is the first thing they're going to want to get to if they can get it. But it's going to take more moments like that, perhaps some individual brilliance, but you wouldn't put it past them. As the clock continues to tick down, they're going to have less and less time to do it.
You can learn more about the WPSL, brand new website for 2018, by the way, much improved, WPSLsoccer.com. Chris Sheeman, Zach Burley, Kevin Gotuso on the camera for you. He's battling, folks. Battling the sun so he can bring you the pictures that you see on your screen. Doing a great job. So a foul called on Oak City. Free kick for Vernado. Isabel Vernado wrapped her senior year at Fort Dorchester High School. That's in North Charleston. I believe she's going to play at Alabama Birmingham. I'm not 100% on that, but that's what I had in my research. Another foul's going to be called. I laugh because it was pretty obvious.
And credit to the Fleet, we've mostly been talking about Oak City in this second half, from their getting their goal, putting the pressure on throughout the second half. But you have to give credit to them as well for only have conceded 1 goal. They very well could have been 3-3 by now with the chances that have been given by Oak City.
Nice header by Bonner. Oak City trying to get it away. Fernandez comes up, trying to chase it down in a battle with Vernado. And that's going to be over the line. So Fernandez wins the battle. Oak City with the throw. Shorts will take it. That went through the legs of Henshaw. Henshaw able to recover, though. At center circle, it's a foot fight. So McAdams tried to come up with it. Charleston, good defense by their midfielders to take it away. Their midfielders have been tough today.
Absolutely, and they're playing right on that line of being illegal and being fair. So that right there was illegal, to tug on the jersey, but they're playing on that line where it's difficult as an attacker to keep balance and keep the ball at your feet.
So another foul called. That time they went over the line. 80th minute. Opportunity via the set piece for Oak City here.
And Bonner absolutely has a sledgehammer of a foot that she can really service this one in. Look for a high lofted ball into the box and somebody to get onto the end of it.
Again, we've seen Berlin have some trouble. Good ball by Bonner, but it's a little bit too long out of play. That's what she was trying to do, too. So 3 subs coming in for both teams now. We'll catch up on them as best we can.
You see Anna Fish coming off. It'll be interesting to see who replaces her. Fish has played as a central midfielder in this game, so towards the middle of the pitch, but perhaps they're going to sub on someone that's a little more attacking minded that might play out on the wings. And when you're 2 goals down and only 10 minutes left, you got to take risks, and if that means losing a defender or losing a midfielder and options of finding an attacker, it's something that you got to do to grind out a result. We'll see if it pays off or if they end up regretting it later on.
Berlin with the free kick. Somebody on YouTube mentioned we were getting Berlin's name wrong. I don't know what it could possibly be, but Flinders runs it down over on the far side, chips it in. Trying to head it was Nelson, and that's going to go over. And I believe Oak City touched it last. They did. So, sir, if you have a correction for us, speak up. Roger, we'd love to hear from you. I've got Maggie Berlin on my roster. If it's somebody else, let me know.
Yeah, if it's Berlin, we would love to hear the correct pronunciation.
Berlin, you think?
There's something, you know, one of the more frustrating things is to have your name mispronounced. I know how that feels, so. And Gotuso raised his hand as well.
And Sheeman, come on.
Yeah.
Nobody gets Sheeman, right?
We've all had it happen, so we apologize, and we all
We checked.
sympathize.
We asked the coaches before the game. Varnado will take this corner kick now. Important moments here. Ball deflected. That's going to be cleared. Nice deflection by the back line for Oak City. After some trepidation, they were able to get rid of it here in the 82nd minute.
Yeah, it was a crucial goal line clearance there, as I believe one of the Fleet players was taking that shot on goal, and it was just, thankfully for Oak City, they had somebody on the line to just be in the way. When the goalkeeper gets caught out like that towards the near post, it's difficult for them to cover the far post.
Another header. Look out here. Bonner holds it off. Charleston still coming forward now. Wool leaves it on the far side. Vernado. Pass into the corner. Into the box for Hill. And that will be well out of play. So goal kick to come. Oak City wants to take this quickly, no doubt. Try to get the ball back on the other side of the field. Do you do field or do you do pitch?
I'm more favored towards pitch. I'm using more of the standard English terminology, but you know, obviously there is no right or wrong when it comes to it.
That's what I used to do, but I think American soccer is trying to be British, and it just comes off weird. I don't call men's soccer players lads. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. It doesn't make... I sound like a fool.
Yeah, I do kits and boots and all that.
We were talking Italian soccer at the half. Serie B. We weren't even talking Serie A. That's the soccer I know and love. Football. Part of my problem is the English people have such a problem with soccer, but soccer is a term that they invented. It's an English term, soccer. Look it up, folks. Coleman now. 84th minute. Charleston content to dribble around, try to make something happen. The offside flag is down. Bonner stopped playing, and that ball's going to be off the side of the bar, and lucky for Oak City. They stopped.
Very lucky, and it was quite clear to me from up here to see that she was onside. But of course, as a defender, the first thing you're going to do is put your arm up, because you're going to appeal for it regardless of whether she was on or not. The other center back next to Bonner had just gotten caught further up the field, and they were very lucky not to concede there. They could thank the woodwork there that bounced rather fortunately back towards the goalkeeper. It very well could have bounced off of her back or even to another player and gone in. So very fortunate not to be 4-1 down there.
Well, if you're Asheville, you're looking at this result, and you're very, very happy right now.
Absolutely.
Asheville and I believe the Dynamo and also Oak City were the unbeatens. Of course, it's still very early in the schedule. Henshaw with a nice pass to Hoops, but Hoops unable to make a go of it, so it will go for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's difficult from that angle because you're so close to the post. There's not a lot of space for you to shoot into, and then the goalie cuts that down even more by being on the near post as you try to just loft it up and over to go, upper shelf, but just a little bit too much on it. Ends up putting that one over the bar.
So it's possible Asheville will be the lone team with an unbeaten and 0 ties record after this weekend.
That's huge, and that just makes the match that Asheville has to play against Oak City even more important, because even with the victory here, the Fleet will still be below Oak City, so they are 3 points behind, so that means get back to it.
Claire Griffiths. Nice hustle, but better defense today for Charleston.
That means that basically being 3 points down, that makes the game between Oak City and Asheville even more important.
Hoops has played well today. She scored the lone goal for Oak City in the 60th minute. Opportunity there, but short.
Yeah, she had a crack from long distance. It wasn't a bad effort, but just a little bit too far left of that post there and wasn't giving Berlin much trouble in goal.
Well, we kind of talked about it earlier in the half, and then we talked about it in halftime. You know, we'll see what happens. The meetings between Oak City and Asheville will be later this year, but they're going to have to play Charleston again in Charleston, will Oak City, and they're going to need a better effort than this. That said, remember, they do have 3 players in the NWSL right now. Henshaw off the deflection, tries to keep it alive. And again, great defense on that back line. Apologies to the Fleet fans. The way that they're positioned, we can't see their numbers, so we can't tell you exactly who they are all the time, but that back line for Charleston, hats off to them. That was Carrier who made that great defensive play before the throw. Corner kick will be taken quickly here in the 87th minute.
Pretty much everybody going up for this one, leaving one defender and the goalkeeper. So if they do manage to clear this one, they're going to have to be careful not to concede on the counter.
Claire Griffiths, it's low. Trying to get there was Casold. I believe it's back to Griffiths. Claire sends it back in, and it's flicked behind again. And if you're Charleston, you take this. It's seconds, it's time running off that you're really looking for here.
Yeah, and I mean, I've lost track of how many corners they've had, but they've yet to concede from it, so they've been strong on this set piece in particular.
So Claire Griffiths again. And that's over everybody's head. Lauren will come up. Lauren fires it into the box. No trouble from Berlin on the hop there. Well, evidently, we had Berlin starting. My man Roger corrected us. Sarah Alston Phillips is in front of the net. I don't know if that was a change at the half or what, but she's in there. Again, folks, we don't have any kind of information. There's no PA. There's no subs being announced, and we're on our own here, so appreciate the information. Sarah Alston Phillips in this second half. She's a senior at Waccamaw High School from my neck of the woods. 1.63 goals against average, 133 saves, 9 clean sheets as a junior last year. I'm from Myrtle Beach, so I know Waccamaw very, very well. That's in Murrells Inlet, I believe. So apologies for that, folks. Again, that's we have you to rely on. So, Roger, if you're at the Dead Dog hanging out watching the game or wherever you are, thanks for the information, buddy, and we apologize. Casold fires it low, making the play on it was Phillips.
Yeah, it's difficult to bring that down when it's high up in the air like that. You have to have a really good first touch to bring it down to make it a chance that you can shoot it towards the goal. So she did the best she could with it to at least put it on frame, but wasn't an easy chance to take when it's bouncing like that.
89th minute. This one looking like it's going to be a Charleston victory here today. Charleston swept the regular season last year from Oak City in their first year and on their way to a good start and their first win of the season here in 2018. And for Oak City, you know, Zach, you had a great first weekend. Maybe getting hit in the mouth a little bit here today will give them a wake-up call as they're going to have 6 days to think about it.
Absolutely, and they have 2 more home games to still have in the future here, so there's still plenty of time to, even with this loss, turn it around.
Oh, wow, what an effort by Oops from about 40 yards out. So 90th minute, we'll have maybe a couple of minutes of added time. I mean, that was one of the better efforts of the half. I like what I've seen from Hoops. Charleston's going to make a sub here. So I don't know. It looks like maybe Charleston changed keepers at the half. I think both teams might have, but honestly, just information that is not privy to us. So expect maybe a minute or two here of added time, and a nice little flick by Powell to send it forward. Look out. Marcano colliding, and Zagante is not happy. Looking for a card here.
If she gave it all she got, you can definitely tell that she's a striker because of her attacking play like that, wanting to get into the challenges and not afraid to get up in the grill of the goalkeeper.
So Casold gave it a good run. No trouble for Phillips there.
And neither of these teams can go ahead and write this season off. Asheville has been playing wonderfully, but all it takes is one loss, and Oak City you're back in, and 2 losses, and then Charleston Fleet, as long as they continue to get results, will be right back in it too. So it's certainly not over early on.
Casold went back, heel to Hoops. Hoops looking for her, but that's going to be over everybody. Trying to run it down as Claire Griffiths, but it goes over the line. So 91 minutes in the books. Again, we play on here. We did have a water break of a few minutes. Not really many other stoppages. Great news of today, other than the result, of course, if you're an Oak City fan, is, or if you're a Charleston fan, excuse me, is relatively no problems. I saw one player go down early in the first half, and that was it. Playing in this kind of heat, you never know. Getting through is Marcano, looking for the hat trick now. 2 goals in the first half. Marcano dribbling through a sea of defenders, hits it wide to the right, and it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, another wonderful individual effort. That shows you why she has 2 goals on the day, because she can spin defenders even when she's being pressured by a larger center back. She still manages to keep the ball at her feet and work around not just 1 but 2 people, and was able to get a shot off even if it wasn't on target. So she's clinical, as she has been in the first half, and is very magical when she has the ball at her feet.
That will wrap it. 93 minutes in the books, and 3-1 the result to Charleston. So Charleston getting all of their goals in the first half, and it started in the 3rd minute. It was Remy Olalari getting her first of the day, or loan of the day. Danielle Marcano in the 24th and 26th minute made it 3-0, and that's how we went into the half. Madison Hoops made things interesting for Oak City in the 60th minute, but unfortunately too little too late, as Oak City runs out of time here, falling today by a score of 3-1. Our next broadcast is coming at you on Saturday, a little bit earlier, too. Carolina Rapids coming to Wake Med Soccer Park on June 9th. Coverage begins at 2:30. Thanks to Mr. Gattuso. Go ahead and wave to the folks real quick. Kevin, doing the camera work. There's Kevin. Zach Burley, good working with you, young man. And everybody who watched today, appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.